Today on the Professional Bowlers Tour, they have traveled to the beautiful Emerald City of Seattle for the $115,000 Seattle Open. Here are our top 5 finalists. In 5th place from Highland, Indiana, the PBA's only 2-time champion in 1984, Ricky Sajak. In 4th place, a man who holds 5 PBA scoring records, Tom Baker from Buffalo, New York. In 3rd place from South St. Paul, Minnesota, our defending champion, Charlie Tapp. In 2nd place, in his first championship round appearance this year from Long Beach, California, Bobby Knipple. And our leader going in today's championship round from North Merrick, New York, 2-time PBA champion, Don Janello. That's our field today on the Professional Bowlers Tour. We're delighted again to be back at the friendly Lalani Lanes, that bowling establishment with the Polynesian motif for the Seattle Open, the finals today, live. Good afternoon again. I'm Chris Schenkel, and Nelson Burton Jr. and I always enjoy coming back to the Pacific Northwest because, Bo, these are the most enthusiastic folks you'll find anywhere.
Great bowling fans, Chris, and a great match today. In the first match, we have the man who'll take over the leading money winner, Rick Sajak. And the question of Tommy Baker, can his hand go the distance? He has a lot of hand problems. The defending champions in the 2nd match, Bobby Knipple in the 3rd match. And in the final, a man recovering from a kidney removal just last year, he's back in top form, Don Janello.
And this is the first of 5 spring tour telecasts. Last year we ended it here. We're happy to start it here. Our first match, Sajak and Baker, you'll see it following this. 5 titles. He's from Buffalo, New York. And he feels confident today, Bo, but with a hand problem, you never know.
Chris, he has a lot of trouble with his wrist. He had quite a bit of surgery on it years back, and he has trouble with his ring finger getting it in the ball, but he's a great stroker.
And the man that averaged 208 on this championship pair, one of the 5 finalists out of a field of 144. Now we look at Ricky Sajak, 24 years old, a 6-footer, 120-pounder. The man with the most unusual follow-through. Extended, and then it just swings like the pendulum on a clock. So we're all even, Bo, after a frame.
Loosey-goosey Rick Sajak, and it's his nature, but also when you are the leading money winner on Professional Bowlers Tour, that helps to loosen that swing up. He'll be up in the 70, 80, possibly even 90,000 after today. Let's see what happens.
And just like that, the 6-7-10 is the problem for the 24-year-old from Highland, Indiana, which is in the Gary, Indiana area.
Early in the match, Chris has to go for the 6-7-10. He'll try to hit that 6 on the right-hand side and slide it over into the 7.
Now, Ricky is a fast bowler, but today his tempo is even faster, if that's possible. Tom Baker is a more deliberate bowler, 5 feet 8 inches tall, 150 pounds. Recently became a father 6 months ago of Bianca, he and Liza.
You see that shot there. He can barely get his ring finger in the ball.
So he's left the 2-4-5. Tom Baker of Buffalo. We replay a shot, a profile view of his stroke.
Tom, a very nice smooth stroke, 5-step delivery. Watch his shoulders and his left side, how he keeps it in good position. Look at that left arm out, right arm extended, and a good follow through. But on that particular shot, Chris, the inability to hold on to the ball, he didn't get the leverage, and he's left the 2-4-5 spare.
Tom Baker continues to mark. First appearance on our telecast this year. Last year, he appeared in the TV finals 6 times. Man that won 3 consecutive titles in 1981. 29 years old. How he grabs that right wrist. So let's try it on the left side of this championship pair, Bo, the 2-4-5.
It has to be disconcerting to Tommy Baker as you see some of the demographics on this young man. to not be able to get that type of lift on the ball. He's always had a very strong ball with his wrist rolling in behind the ball. Now he's going over the top of it, and it makes the ball slide out. 2-4-5 to stay in the lead.
And again, covering it the same way, and it brought the big smile, big deep dimple for Tommy Baker. All right, now, Rick Sajak opened with a strike at an open frame in the second, trailing by 9, so he needs to strike right here. Left a 4-pin.
A shot we've seen a lot of this week, the 4-pin. The balls are hooking very sharply at the back end. 2-pin goes to the sideboard, leaves the 4, as you see the profile of Rick Sajak. The leading money winner on the Pro Tour. Good extension, good follow-through as he goes quickly for the spare.
Young man with a lot of confidence that following the Firestone Tournament of Champion 3 weeks ago, he said he really enjoyed the 2 weeks off prior to coming out here to the Pacific Northwest to begin the first of our 5 spring tour events. Over $74,000, the winner today, $17,000. This is the first step toward that title. And we get another 2-4-5. This on the left lane here at Leilani Lanes in Seattle.
36 lane bowling center. We're bowling on lanes 27 and 28. And the players say that the pair is evenly matched. They feel that both lanes hook about the same. So if they can get the good rhythm, get zeroed in, we could see some pretty good scoring.
And it's a second open frame for the 24-year-old from Highland, Indiana. And that puts him in a hole. We're going to return to the Leilani Lanes here in Seattle. We're delighted you joined us here. First of 5 spring tour telecasts. Championship pair lanes 27 and 28. We've seen problems on both already. Not so much from this man, because he has covered a pair of 2-4-5s and he has a 24-pin lead. Tom Baker from Buffalo, New York, bowling Ricky Sajak.
Chris Baker hasn't really done anything too good. He got a strike in the first frame, made 2 spares, but he has a commanding lead 4th frame.
Now with a high hit, the 3-6-10. The winner of this match will go against the defending champion, colorful Charlie Tapp of South St. Paul, Minnesota, then Bobby Knipple as we replay the hit.
Baker cutting right through the heart, avoids the split, gets the 3-6-10 spare. And if there's one drawback to Tommy Baker's game, it's lack of speed control. Throws the ball very slow down the lane, and it's hard to control when the lanes get dry.
Staying clean is Tom Baker, whereas his opponent, Ricky Sajak, as you see, has 2 open frames. And we're early here in the first match. 21 pins separating these 2 professionals.
Tommy Baker, who is a avid sports handicapper, and he owns a horse, Chris, a trotter named Roger Riley, an 8-year-old, and he's looking forward to seeing the Preakness later on this afternoon.
That shot sliding by.
Chris, I haven't seen a bad break like that in a long time. The head pin went to the sideboard and just really gave him a bad break. He could have had a 2-4-5. And now watch the head pin. It goes to the left sideboard, and you'll see the 2-4-5 standing momentarily. There they are. Now look at the head pin. Knock out the 2, tilt back, hit the 4. He's left the 5-7-8. Shoot this, the 5 on the outside, try to slide it into the 7-8.
Though in 23 years on our telecast, I've never seen this lead. Went all out for it.
What a bad break, Chris. I haven't seen that lead in many tournaments, but never on the telecast. The 5-7-8.
Weird.
And it changes the match completely around. Sajak sitting on the bench was almost out of the match. All of a sudden, he only trails by 5. He can take the lead with a double.
5th frame, right lane. Well, he jumped on it, but he left the 4-pin. Ricky Sajak.
Sajak has only lost 1 match in his championship round career. That was to Mark Baker at the Miller High Life Classic down in Florida.
Right, Sajak, his 2 wins came in the Miller Brewing Company sponsored events, Florida, and then the Miller High Life Open in Milwaukee. At stake today, $17,000, a beautiful wood-carved tiki trophy here in Seattle, Washington. All right, now on the left side of this championship pair. He is really bowling fast. 2-4-5 again.
Both players just don't seem to have their tempo. They throw one ball a little too hard, one a little too soft. When they throw it hard, it naturally slides by and leaves the 2-4-5. Now, Sajak in the previous time up on the left-hand lane, the fourth frame, completely whiffed this on the right. Let's see if he goes straight at it.
All right. Nelson, you mentioned the Preakness Stakes coming up. Preceding it is a 28-year-old that could not find his matchless tempo in his fight against Kevin Howard, Sugar Ray Leonard. And I just advise everyone to take a look at his return and his retirement.
27 months of layoff, Chris, had to make a difference.
Tommy Baker leaving the 6-10. And Sugar Ray Leonard left the ring in Worcester, Massachusetts a week ago last night, forever. And you'll find that out today watching that fight. And a little bit later, exclusive interview that I did yesterday in our New York studios with one of the most likable champions I've ever known. And Tom Baker, 5-time winner. He is really smiling today.
Well, he kind of backed into the top 5, Chris. He didn't really get aggressive last night. He won a 180 game. He won a 190 game. He bowled 180 against Joe Berardi in the position round and snuck by that game. And here he is bowling at a 178 pace, and he's leading Sajak. So 6 frames under the belt. Nobody's been aggressive. Nobody's taken the bull by the horns. Let's see what happens. 4 frames left.
That's the way he opened this first game, with a powerful pocket hit, as did Sajak. 8 pins separating these two pros. We'll have the finals of this first game. We have a very close first match between Ricky Sajak, who already has had 2 opens, trailing by only 8. Now he has a spare up, shooting in the 7th. His opponent is Tom Baker of Buffalo. Big shot for Sajak. On the tour this year and becoming the leading money winner today, Ricky Sajak.
Just solid in the pocket, Chris, and he made the adjustment that his style accommodates. When you're a down and in player like Sajak, when you're struggling, move to the right, throw it a little harder. For Baker, he should move it to the left and let it hook a little more. So follow your own style.
Many of the fans and the capacity crowd here felt he was robbed.
He was, Chris. The last time we saw a solid 9 was Leilani Lanes last year. The head pin just goes straight back and drives the 5 and 8, and the ball does not take out the 9.
But very quickly, covers the 9 pin. Ricky Sajak. It's getting late now here in our first match with the winner to meet the defending champion, Charlie Tapp, then Bobby Knipple, and the tournament leader. As they continue to practice off to our right, you hear the pin fall. Down Janello. Strike up shooting in the 8th, Tom Baker. First double of this first match. Earlier we had a chance to get a rundown on the history of Tom Baker's hand problems. We asked him about affecting his bowling.
He's waiting for a re-rack.
I've had trouble getting the feel of the bowling ball for a number of years. I had a broken right wrist years ago. I've had corrective surgery since then. And over the years, it seems like it's getting worse and worse. It really bothered me here this week, and it's been bothering me all year. And hopefully, I'm totally lost in what to do here, and hopefully I can come out today and be all right.
But he's in the final, not completely lost, and now has an 18-pin lead by virtue of a double.
And one of his problems, Chris, could be that he's staying with the same type of grip. I've discussed this with Tommy at length, and he needs to change his grip. He stayed with that semi-fingertip grip. He could either go to a shorter conventional grip or even try a fingertip. But right now he's in the driver's seat. 18-pin lead, could make it to 28.
All but a stubborn 7-pin on the left lane.
Match play competition. Baker going at a 187 pace. Sajak still has room for 190. The match is up for grabs.
Best finish here at Lalani, and as you take a look at his hand, for Baker was 5th in 1980. And it appears that he's going to better that mark today, but you never know, because here is a tough competitor with a spare working, shooting in the 9th frame, using all of the approach. And in that crouch-like approach with his right heel off the approach, uses it all going to the line as we watch Sajak's footwork.
5-step delivery. He takes all the approach, and this is such an important shot as he pivots through. There's our tip on that pivot step. Gets a good lift out on the lane. He's in position to possibly take the lead. He trails by 17, can cut the lead of Baker's to 7.
There he is. He's done that before this year, Nelson.
Chris, you're so
Strings
right.
him late. Oh.
3 in a row to win the Meisterbrow. We were sitting here, and he was all but out of the match. Then all of a sudden, 3 strikes in a row, and he had the lead. Now, for the first time in the match, Rick Sajak can take the lead if he strikes here.
This is Tom Baker. Sajak, a veteran regional bowler, where the competition can be tough. Oh, he ran that one out thinking he had them all, but it's a 10-pin on the left lane.
Boy, 2 tough breaks for Sajak. In the 8th frame, he could have actually put the match away. He left a solid 9, then comes up for the take the lead shot here in the 11th frame, leaves a solid 10. He forces Baker to mark.
So now Tom Baker's job is ahead of him. That is to mark. 179 for Sajak. Another 2-4-5 on the right lane.
It's not over yet. He must make the spare and get a 6 count to win the match. If he misses the spare, Ricky Sajak will go on to meet defending champion Charlie Tapp.
All right, here it is. There's the mark, and now 5 pins. That's what he needs. He's carefully looking at the overhead score sheet. Tom Baker. And he gets 8. And shaking his head as he shakes the hand of Rick Sajak. It's a 182, 179. Close, wasn't it? 3 pins. So it'll be Baker and Tapp. The Professional Bowlers Spring Tour will continue after this message and a word from our local station. 3 strikes, Tom Baker of Buffalo defeated Ricky Sajak, 182 to 179. Now he moves up and goes against the defending champion, Charlie Tapp of South St. Paul, Minnesota, on the Professional Bowlers Spring Tour, the first of 5 from the Lalani Lanes in Seattle. The handshake, Baker will shoot first. Tapp is 6 feet 5 inches tall. Baker 5 feet 8. Baker a winner of the first match. Sajak won $4,000, holding the Professional Bowlers Tour telecast and PBA money lead. A lazy day in Seattle. Oh, what a lazy 10-pin. Now here he is. He carefully sets himself. He's a very uptight guy when he's bowling. Well, he didn't like the way he released it, apparently, Bo.
Ball slipped off his hand, Chris. Both players are using polyurethane bowling balls. Charlie Tapp using the gray, harder ball that doesn't hook quite as much. Baker using the black ball that hooks quite a bit more. As these 2 players are best of friends.
All right. So Charlie Tapp Likeable Minnesotan. Marks with a spare. The man that's using 2 different bowling shoes.
Well, the approaches have been a bit slippery here, and Charlie's using a slide shoe that doesn't slide quite as much, and also it follows in with this week's tip, Chris, the pivot step. That's the step before you release the ball. Charlie's got a pair that he can really dig in and get some lift with.
It's on the left lane now. And he gets it. Won his only championship after 3 second-place finishes in his career. Just about a year ago, right here at Leilani Lanes. Now, Tom Baker won the first match, 182 to 179 over Ricky Sajak. As a strikeout, shooting in the second frame of our second match.
There, Baker just cannot get the feel of the ball. He wanted to step back and just took a look at his hand. Needs a double to take the lead.
So smooth. It really looks effortless as he goes to the line. Meanwhile, Bobby Knippel, who will meet the winner of this second match, is warming up off to the right. Now going for a 3-bagger. Seven pin.
Baker has all the shots working for him. He hit light and slapped the 10 out in the first frame, had a can opener in the second, where he went to the wall shot, almost knocked the 7 pin out with the head pin. And he's got a tough customer here in Charlie Tapp. Charlie Tapp is not only the defending champion, but one of the top players on the tour, as is Tommy Baker.
Very appreciative, Tommy Baker. It's easy to smile in the Pacific Northwest. These are the friendliest people, Bo.
It's been a good group all week long, enthusiastic, nice to everyone throughout the city. Charlie Tapp to take the lead. He trails by 9, strike working.
No 10. Here's a profile view of Charlie Tapp.
6 feet 5 inches tall, 5-step delivery. Actually a short swing for as big of as man as Charlie is. And look at that pivot step and drive through as you see the different pair of shoes, one for sliding and one for digging in.
Okay. Cross lane and nearly found the channel. Charlie knew it. Sue, his wife at home, probably had a little shortness of breath.
Here he slides by, almost going into the channel. He's on the very last board and just nicks the 10 pin going away. Chris, the way you reacted, that it seems like you've had a few of your own shots slide by that way.
Well, you get accustomed to doing some body English here in our broadcast location, whether you're doing fights, golf, whatever.
Well, I'll remember to duck the left hook next time around.
Ooh, he likes that left lane. Charlie Tapp. Underrated coming into the fight. He was listed as a so-so opponent, but I've never seen anybody tougher. He had never been knocked out, been knocked down twice, but he was a stern test for Sugar Ray, who was not up to par.
Interesting setup.
I hit for Tom Baker, leaving the 3-6. And on the fight, Bo, Sugar Ray's problem was rustiness. He had trouble finding the range, missing a lot, and that contributed to his, that's a big decision, you know, at 28 years of age, to say, so long.
I'm looking forward to watching that as soon as we go off the air.
Okay. Tom Baker won the first match over Ricky Sajak, 182 to 179. And now here in the second against Charlie Tapp, has a 7-pin lead with the 5th frame coming up. Ten pin.
Baker just does not have that power roll that we saw last year. He's topping that ball and favoring that hand. Now watch the ball as it enters the 1-3 pocket. It doesn't drive through into the 5-8 area. See, it slides over towards the 9-pin, doesn't get the action on the 6-pin as it lies in the channel, and doesn't knock out the 10. Baker with a spare will still lead by 7.
Tom Baker, who needs a victory today to crack the $400,000 barrier in money earned on the PBA Tour. Now, Charlie Tapp with a strike up. He can take the lead right here, shooting in the 5th frame. Charlie's career earnings, $213,000. 6 years of pro, 1 victory, about a year ago right here. So we have a new leader. And as a result of winning last year, a very popular victory for Charlie Tapp, he has a lot of supporters here today. And there you see the double that put him on top by 4.
What a big hit for Tapp. He had been around the pocket in the 1st and 3rd frames, but here to take the lead in the 5th. Watch this ball. Watch the ball hit the 1-3, saws out the 5. Watch the 6 tomahawk the 10 out of there. Tapp has the lead. Can extend to 14 with another strike.
Another 10-pin.
Just a little soft with the speed, allowed that ball to wander high. Tapp almost left the 4-10 split. 2-pin went to the sideboard, tripped out the 4. Across lane, easy spare. We have a close match.
Last time he just made the 10. Charlie Tapp loves to live dangerously on the bowling lanes.
Jeez.
Now Baker, 6 frames, spare working, trailing by 3.
Now watch Baker as he releases the ball. If his fingers stay under the ball until the last moment, he gets an effective roll. If he tops it early, it'll skid out.
All right. Tom Baker, a man who holds 5 PBA scoring records. And one he set in the Denver Open in 1981, a 42-game scoring record of 10,383 pins. And next week, Nelson will be in Denver.
Back to the original site of Baker's record performance, and here's a man who's red hot, ready to maybe duplicate that performance again. Baker to take the lead, Chris.
Okay. All right. The lead seesawing here in a very close second match. Must be springtime. We're in Seattle, Washington, because I've never seen 2 looser professionals bowling here in the second match. They're having fun doing it and showing it, at least with their smiles and their banter back and forth. Tapp, who did lead, lost it to Baker, now shooting in the 7th frame. Ooh, that's a sigh of relief. Left only the 7.
Charlie Tapp, what a break he got right here. He leaves in a what looks like in a 7-10 split. And watch the 6-pin. It lies down the channel, then just pops out and lays the 10 back. He needs this to stay within a half a mark of Tommy Baker.
Spare for Tapp, who's had plenty of experience. 11th time he's been in the championship round in his 6-year pro career. And they continue to make comments to each other in friendly fashion. They're both very fine competitors, and they know losing this match, you can only earn $5,000. But if you win, you're a step closer to the $17,000 first prize. This is the Seattle Open. Six-tenth.
Slide.
Comment with a wireless microphone. The slide. Still a problem with it, Nelson.
Charlie just goes a little high on this hit, leaves the 6-10, and he has to guard against chopping it across lane. Here he goes up right high. Watch the 3-pin go over to the sideboard, almost knock out the 6-10. Charlie with extra speed across lane to keep this match close.
All right. Bobby Knippel meets the winner, and that'll be the semifinal game, and then into the championship match against the tournament leader, Don Gimello of North America, Long Island, New York. Double up, 8th frame. Tommy Baker. Leaving a 4 on the right lane. First match victory, 182 to 179 over Sajak. He had 3 strikes. Thus far, he's marked with 4.
Baker cuts right through the heart. 2-pin to the sideboard, almost knocks out the 4, but he has an easy spare to maintain a 9-pin lead. It's going down the last 2 frames, Chris. Anybody can win the match. The man who's looking forward to Denver next week, and then after that we go on to Tucson, then a new stop on the PBA Tour, Riverside, California. Then we have a week off for the golf tournament, and then on to Las Vegas for the final telecast of the Spring Tour, the Showboat Doubles Tournament in Las Vegas, Nevada, Chris.
All right. Ooh, a foundation frame strike for the man from Buffalo.
The Bakes, as they call him, best shot of the day. Threw right there in the 9th frame. Protects himself, gives himself a chance. Charlie Tapp going a 2:06 pace, Baker 2:15 pace. The match is up for grabs. Who can perform in the 9th and 10th frames?
Last year's winner. With a good stroke on that one, Charlie Tapp.
Good.
Charlie Tapp with an excellent lift, good follow through, and you'll see that pro spin as it reacts on these 3-pound, 5-ounce pins. Charlie blows the 5 over into the 7. Right now, the scoreboard tells the story. Charlie Tapp can take the lead with a double here in the 10th. Chris, if he strikes, we have the possibility of a tie.
All right, and he asked for a re-rack. Got it, of course, on the left lane now. Here's that shot. Our second match, first stop on a tour of 5 cities on the PBA Spring Tour here on ABC.
What a great shot under pressure. Charlie Tapp trips that 4 out. Right now, he can take a 11-pin lead with a double. He cannot shut out Baker. No matter what Tapp does, Baker can still get up in the 10th and win the match.
Tapp, 32 years old, from South St. Paul, Minnesota. Here's a reaction.
The count's very important here. If Charlie Tapp strikes on this ball, he forces Baker to get 2 strikes. If Tapp just gets a 9 count on this ball, we have a possibility of a tie match.
Oh, that's clutch shooting. The man who, when he's not in a bowling establishment, loves to be on the golf course. Charlie Tapp shooting a 226.
Well, Charlie Tapp drew the rules for this match. He has forced Tommy Baker to strike 2 times. If Baker does not strike here in the 10th and the 11th, Charlie Tapp will go on to meet Bobby Knippel. And there's that feel problem, Chris. And in a critical situation right here, under the pressure, Baker cannot get that good feel in the ball. He must take his time. It's too important.
That tells the story.
A high hit, the 4-9. He didn't get the trip action. The match is all over. Charlie Tapp will meet Bobby Knippel in the semifinal. The defending champion, trying to be the first player in over 2 years to defend his title. The last man was Earl Anthony.
And Tapp's ability to close with a 4-bagger did the job. 226 to 203. Charlie Tapp will meet Bobby Knipple next. Coming in to meet Charlie Tapp, who with 4 in a row at the end defeated Tom Baker, who won the first match 226 to 203. You know, the Rolaids tip of the week, you don't have to be a Fred Astaire to have good footwork in telecasts. First stop of 5 spring tours. We go into our semifinal game and the short and tall of it all in this field of 5. Bobby Knipple will take a seat while Charlie Tapp, who won the last match, closing with a 4-bagger over Tom Baker, 226 to 203. Here now is Tapp. And Bo, by winning that match in that fashion, that should help his confidence in this game.
Charlie Tapp in excellent bowling condition. He does a lot of practicing. If he gets loosened up like he did in the end of that match, he could be very tough.
Okay, like that. Okay, now we introduce, for the first time in a long time, Bobby Knipple of Long Beach, California. 41-year-old professional, 5'7", 135 pounds, 19 years a member of the PBA with 1 victory. Big day for Bobby. And the contrast in styles, Nelson, the straight shooter, Knipple.
Knipple playing right off the outside line, down the first arrow. Charlie Tapp playing the track. As you see Bobby Knipple's chart there, 41 years old, 5 feet 7 inches, 135 pounds, and he's a good, steady competitor, Chris. He keeps the ball in play. He doesn't defeat himself. If he starts stringing some strikes, he's very tough. I think we're going to have a close match.
His last and only win was 10 years ago. Mixing action. Bobby Knipple, the Californian. Earlier, we had a chance to talk to Charlie Tapp. And why do you bowl so well here in Seattle? This is the answer to his question. Charlie Tapp.
The lane surface being so smooth. With the oiling patterns and a nice smooth surface, it allows me to play on the lane where I like to play. And being that I won here last year, it gave me great confidence coming into this week, and I think I can do it again.
Almost on that last shot. 2-pin on the right lane.
Credit to Mac Lowry and his staff here to keep that lane surface so smooth, Chris. They use a lot of lane conditioner, resurface every year, and these bowling pins that we use, he puts them away every year for the pros. They only have 1,000 games on the bowling pins, and optimum scoring is usually between 1,000 and 2,000 games on pins.
All right, here at Leilani Lanes, the general manager, Mac Lowry, very, very efficient. And Bo, you've been a proprietor. It takes management to have an efficient establishment.
Well, they're very successful here. Not only do they have a nice bowling center, lounge, restaurant, and so on and so forth, but that just doesn't automatically happen. A great staff, and of course the professional bowler stop here contributes to the success of this bowling center.
Charlie Tapp with a wireless microphone on. Usually he's quite a talker. Now he's whispering. We'll get some words out of him sooner or later, I'm sure. That Bobby Knipple is quiet as any member of the PBA. He really is. And let me tell you, he hasn't been quiet in his first 2 frames as a double up shooting in the 3rd. Little off balance at the line, sticking just a bit.
Knipple rushing the line a little bit, doesn't quite get the leverage necessary to knock out the 10-pin. You see the 5-step delivery of Bobby, very low backswing as he drives through that pivot step we were just talking about in the tip, slides sideways at the line and doesn't get the hitting power.
But methodically covers the 10-pin with his cross lane shot. Bobby's first championship round appearance since he placed 4th in the 1982 Miller High Life Classic in Anaheim. And before that, it was at the 1973 Fairlanes Open in Baltimore where he finished 4th. Touring pro for 10 years, then took off.
Skipped 5 years, Chris. He just wasn't making any money. Then his backer, P.J. Carroll, picked him up with some other stars, and he's back out here making a living.
Speaking of making a living, Ricky Sajak, by losing the first match, leaving the 4-pin as we're running a bit behind our schedule. While we were away in the 4th frame, Tap left the 4-6-7, chopped the 4. So it's an open frame, and Bobby Knippel went into a 23-pin lead. Now Tap adjusting his grip on that gray bowling ball. Start for Tap in the 5th. Tap, who defeated Tommy Baker in the previous match 226-203. Baker defeating Sajak in our first game on our live telecast today, 182-179. Now Knippel. Strike up.
Bobby Knippel, Chris, is backed by a fellow named P.J. Carroll, who backs 2 other players on the tour, Mark Baker, who won the Miller High Life Classic, and Butch Soper, who won the AC Delco Classic. So if Knippel can win today, he'll have 3 winners in the barn.
And that puts him out to a 33-pin lead. Bobby and his wife Marcy are parents of 2 children, Carrie and Kathy.
Perfect strike. Knippel with just a minimum hook drives all 10 pins in the pit, has a 33-pin lead. Coming up here in the 6th, can extend to 43 pins, and he'll need every bit of that against Charlie Tap, who's only been out of the pocket 1 time. That was the 4th frame in a game and a half. So Tap is not dead for sure.
Look at that concentration of the veteran. We have 2 different strokes today, 2 different entries. Does it make a big difference whether it's straight line today or a little bit of a hook?
Well, Chris, the lanes are very fair, as you see the reaction of Bobby Knippel. He's playing the first arrow, throwing the ball straight into the pocket, what we call leveraging the pins with that extreme angle. Charlie Tap's playing the 2nd arrow, playing around the track. And we saw Tommy Baker was in the first match playing around the 3rd arrow. So it's just accommodate your hook and play the angle.
That one just didn't come up, leaving the 2-5.
Charlie has to watch. He doesn't get down on himself here. He trails by a pretty good margin, 43 pins, but with 4 frames left, he can pick it up very easily. We've seen some tremendous turns arounds in matches this year, so it's not over. Tap was in the pocket in the 1st frame, got tapped in the 2nd, strike in the 3rd, had the 4-6 in the 4th, spare in the 5th, and converting the 2-5 here. Goes by.
Lost it at the line. He has that one finger, the very tip of it has a blister on it, and it's starting to get to him.
Slides by. This is the 2nd time today that we've seen a player slide by the 2-5 combination. Rick Sajak slid by the 2-4-5, just knocking off the 5 in the first match, which was the difference against Mark Baker, Tommy Baker. And here, Charlie Tap, in a critical situation, misses a simple spare. He trails by 56 pins, must get some strikes together.
Remember, he finished with a 4-bagger to eliminate Tommy Baker in the previous match. Well, we'll see what he does, but first we're going to take a break. We were away, left the 210, came up with an open frame, covering only the 2. Bobby Knippel leading by 42. Again, having a little trouble at the line, this time leaving the 6-pin.
The open frame in the 7th frame for Knippel changed the match around. Knippel going at a 2:15 pace. Charlie Tap, who knows how to string strikes on this championship pair, has a possible 2:13, so it's a long way from over yet.
Right now, Tap was up in a hurry. He really wants to get up on that approach and try to double here, as he'll be shooting in the 8th frame, and that's exactly what he needs to do. Double, cutting the lead to 32 pins. Can he repeat what he did in his match against Tommy Baker? Meanwhile, the tournament leader, Don Chinello, is just watching. He will meet the winner for the Seattle Open Championship. Let's replay that stroke.
Solid in the pocket. Charlie Tap drives all 10 pins in the pit, and he keeps a flicker of hope alive. He can still win this match, but he needs a strike here in the 9th. has a double working, trails by 32.
The 10 pin.
Well, you can see the difference in reactions. A sigh of relief from Bobby Knipple as he is in the driver's seat. The best tap can roll is a 192. Here's Charlie, needs to knock this 10 pin out, signaling it to Hook. Tough situation now.
So he wanted more than that foundation frame spare. Charlie Tapp of South St. Paul, Minnesota. Halfway resigning himself at this point, but Bobby Knipple will be shooting in the ninth now with a spare working.
Knipple also using the urethane bowling ball today, needs one mark in the last two frames to go against the tournament leader, Don Janela.
Pressure shot. Coming through when he needed it. Bobby Knipple, 41 years old, Long Beach, California.
Bobby needs 4 pins on 2 balls, which is about as easy of a task that you can ask of a professional bowler, and he'll go on to meet Don Janelle. Remember, Bobby Knipple is not eligible for the Firestone Tournament of Champions. He's won, but it's been over 10 years ago.
And bowling like this in the final frames will give him added confidence as he goes against the stylist, Don Janello from North Merrick, Long Island, New York. A tough competitor as the tournament leader especially. Bobby Knipple, who finished second overall in the field of 144, has eliminated Charlie Tapp in our semifinal match, which means he will meet the man on the left, Don Janello. That match after this. And now with Bobby Knipple's defeat of Charlie Tapp, a new man. He will go against our tournament leader, Don Janello. Bobby Knipple, 215 to 182. Knipple with 7 strikes. Bo in the field of 144. How did the others finish? 6 through 24.
Chris, the stats for this week: Jimmy Miller, 2 weeks in a row, 6. Firestone champion Joe Berardi. Fairlanes champion Dale Eagle. Avery LeBanc up there. Gostovich steady. Rick Jones, a part-timer. All-world Marshall Holman. Part-timer Mike Kelly. Mike Steinbach, the eligible bachelor out there. Gonzalez coming around. Ringener shot 300 this week. Mats Carlson. Jeff Bellinger had a 300. Bill Robin up there. Roger Bowker from the tough Midwestern region. Miller's champion Alvin Liu. The great talent of Norm Duke up there. Slumming down Steve Cook and Mark Fay round out the top 24.
Division rivals collide when Marcus Dupree and the New Orleans Breakers battle the Tampa Bay Bandits, where division-leading Michigan takes on Steve Young in Los Angeles. Also, Doug Williams of the...
Bobby Knipple and Don Janello. Janello, the tournament leader. He likes to bowl from there, Nelson.
Chris, he believes that he can go against anybody one game. He has been an excellent winner from all positions since he's been out in the tour in the last 2 years. Uses that stretch fingertip grip, very disciplined and a very aggressive style.
Oh, fuck.
6 feet 1 inches tall, 145 pounds. Don Janello. He's made of good stuff. He has a victory this year, second appearance on our telecast. And gritty, tough Bobby Knipple matches our tournament leader's performance in the first frame differently, but nevertheless a strike.
The same type of shot he started out against Charlie Tapp with. He went to the wall shot in the first frame and capitalized with it by making a double out of it with a swisher in the second. He was out to an early lead. This match so far all even through 1 frame. Let's see what Knipple does here in the second. He needs a win to get back in the Firestone. Janelle already eligible.
Left a 10 pin. Almost disbelief as he came back in the return area. The man that defeated Charlie Tapp, 215 to 182.
Solid 10. 6 pin just flew around the 10 pin. Knipple, who is an excellent spare shooter with that very minimal hook that he rolls, should convert this easily.
Now the man up is Don Janello, kidney removal, and he said he has never felt better, which is always good news following surgery. Here's the purse breakdown: 17, 9, 7, 5,500, and 4,000.
Get there.
10 pen for Janello, who thus far in his 3-year career has earned $120,000. This year, $16,710. Leading money winner, Rick Sajak, was defeated in the first match by Tom Baker. And Baker eliminated by Charlie Tapp. Oop.
Shows a lot of the personality of Don Janello. He's such a cooperative, nice guy, Chris, off the lanes, but he is very aggressive and tough to beat out on the lanes. I'll tell you, he had a good chance of bowler of the year last year if he didn't have to go in for that kidney operation. Now he looks just sharper than ever right now.
And the man that was in 5 television finals last year with led the PBA with a 7-3 record in the championship round, and that's some kind of shooting. Well, we've seen a good performance in his first match today against Tapp, Bobby Knipple. Spare up, shooting in the 3rd. Another 10.
Both players in the pocket every shot so far in the championship match. Janello strike in the first, left the soft 10 in the second, good strike in the third. Knipple strike in the first, a solid 10 in the second, and he leaves the soft 10 here in the 3rd frame. Easy spare. Just be a 1-pin difference after 3 frames.
Bobby Knipple, whose first professional Bowlers Tour appearance came in January, Bo, of 1967 in the San Jose Open, losing the title game to Jim St. John.
Jim St. John, one of the great stars of the 60s and into the 70s. And once again, Bobby Knipple, at 41 years of age, has spanned 3 decades on the professional Bowlers Tour. He's an experienced, moxie player out there on the lanes. He won't give this match away. He knows what it means.
High hit avoiding the split, leaving the 4-7. Fellow who has 1 victory, 3 second-place finishes in his career.
You think about the advantages and the disadvantages of what we call a straight or down-the-line ball. Here's one of the advantages. Knipple pulls the ball instead of going right through the heart and leaving a wide-open split, such as a 4-6. He gets an easy spare of the 4-7 and stays in the match. All he has to do is get the ball over near the 4-7, knock him straight back.
Father of 19-year-old Carrie and 15-year-old Kathy from Long Beach, California, leader Don Janello. And in this final game, head-to-head, only 1 game for the $17,000 first prize. Don Janello is on top by 3 pins. He can increase it to 13. Now shooting in the 4th with a strike up. His opponent, Bobby Knipple.
Oh, Donnie. Safe.
Wearing the wireless mic, though, he said, Donnie.
Just let that ball slide by. And just before we went on the air in the championship round, his brother Joe called from Long Island, who is a good amateur bowler, and he says, Donnie, just keep that ball wide. Don't get it up in the nose. So here you see the style of Don Janello. Good follow-through, good extension. You just can't do it much better than that. The ball just slipped out of his hand a little bit.
And the man with a wonderful understanding. 6'1", quite light. And I speak with authority on that because I'm about as thin as he is. Has a great understanding. Big feet.
Size 13. What a foundation this young man has. He has a great style, but those big feet help keep him solid at the line.
Lean on it.
Oh, and he held that follow through seemingly forever, proving a point. Follow through, Bo, as you've often said, and wait, and the 10-pin win.
Such a disciplined player, and he gets a great break as the head pin. Now watch the head pin go to the left sideboard. There it goes. Comes back across on the lane. Now look at coming over, working with the 6, knocking out the 10. Janelle has struck every time on the left lane. He leads by 3. Knipple up in the 5th.
Spare working. Oh, Bobby needed that one. Bobby defeated Charlie Tapp 215 to 182 in our very first match today. Ricky Sajak won against Tom Baker. Baker 182, Sajak 179. Let's look at the leaders by round here in the Seattle Open at Leilani Lanes.
42-game format. Bill Robin up there. Knipple moved to the top. Henry Gonzalez, whose game is really coming around. And then Janelle in the 24-man final rounds took the lead going into the championship round here today. Now Bobby Knipple up in the 6th, trails by 3, strike working, can take the lead.
Watch for Gonzalez next week. We're in his home country in Colorado. High hit, and here it is, the 310.
Here's the kind of shots that can make or break a champion. An errant first shot. He gets a 310 split. The odds 2 to 1 for the pros. Hit the 3-pin on the right-hand side. Let the ball deflect into the 10. He needs this to stay close in the match against the very tough Don Janelle.
And converts it. Wonderful performance by Bobby Knipple. Nailed that one. We asked Don what effect the removal of a kidney had on his bowling career.
Good shot. Good shot. Yes.
Oh, you heard him say, good shot. And now the answer to the question about a kidney removal and the effect on his bowling career.
Yes, back in 1979, we discovered my right kidney was not functioning, and this past spring I had trouble with it again. During the summer, I had it removed, and the doctors assured me there'd be no problems. I'm back to full health in bowling, Oregon.
Comes back with his hands in his pocket, sort of a smug grin, because a 3-bagger has put him on top by 23. After converting the 310 now, Bobby Knipple shooting in the 7th frame. Six-pen.
Knipple high in the 6th frame, converted the split. High in the 7th here, has an easy spare, the 6-pin, but he has to get going. Janelle is not going to give in. Janelle, an aggressive player, likes that #1 spot, has Knipple on the ropes. Now, Knipple gets a good break here, but you can't depend on that every frame. He needs strikes.
All right. Getting late now. We're through 7 frames in the title match. Don Janello looking for his 3rd PBA championship. Bobby Knipple for his 2nd. A lot at stake for this man in addition to the unusual trophy, wooden tiki, and the $17,000. If he could win today, he'd be eligible again for the Firestone Tournament of Champions.
Bad break there. Knipple took a little extra time here coming up in the 8th frame, got his thoughts back together, and made an excellent pass at the ball, left a solid 10. Watch the 6-pin, the 2nd pin on the right-hand part of your screen, just flies around the 10. Bad break for Knipple. If he converts here, he'll be going at a 195 pace. He's still in the match.
Well, in all these years, when you see successful professionals, there's always that follow-through.
You have to follow through towards your target. It's very similar to rolling a softball. If I ask you to throw a softball towards the home plate, you wouldn't follow through towards 3rd base. Same thing with a bowling ball.
Okay.
Get there. Get there.
And the Long Islander was going for a 4-bagger, and he left the 4-pin.
A little coaxing halfway down the lane. Get there, get there. Didn't quite make it, though. Here comes the ball. Almost leaves the 2, 4, 5, and watch the action of the head pin to the sideboard. hits the 2, the 4, and the 5. 4 remaining.
The Long Islander, 26 years old, who's won in Mid-America in Kansas City. And then he won on Long Island a year ago, the Long Island Open, and now trying to win on the West Coast. Look at that move from 100th position to number 1.
Started very slowly in the tournament. Was averaging only 189 in the first round. Then he caught fire, made the adjustments, and here he's in the driver's seat for the title.
Bo, a question. Are you going to bowl on the spring tour?
Bo Burton's going to do some bowling as soon as all the corn and soybeans get planted in the Midwest, Chris. We got to feed everybody before we can go out here and practice our bowling.
I knew you'd get hooked on farming. I told you.
Knipple is back to the wall. He must throw some strikes to put pressure on Don Janelle. 9th frame.
And again, that pesky 10. The bane of this Bobby Knipple and Don Janello's final game, the championship match.
For Knipple, the task in front of him is simply this. He must make this spare and throw a double in the 10th and hope that Janello would have an error. That's the only way Knipple can win.
And of course, you always remember errors, and Janello was the one that thought he had already lost the match after leaving an almost impossible split, 4-6, 7-9, 10. In the last frame, he threw his last ball in the channel, not knowing he needed only 3 pins for his 3rd triumph in the Southern California Open, Bo.
That was last year, and I'm sure he remembers that. The situation for Knipple, he must strike right here.
Janello looking at the overhead score sheet.
Janello has the match in hand, Chris. He will be just the 4th player to win from the number 1 position this year. 17 telecasts, 17 championship rounds. Janello becomes the 4th player to win from the number 1 spot.
And of course had that extreme confidence when you asked him where he'd prefer to be, and his answer was just where he was today, and again it came through.
Well, when you have a style as good as Janello's, you can win from any position, but he has that aggressive, never give up style and determination that makes great champions. I'm glad to see him back in the winner's circle.
And for Don, going against Bobby Knipple, who eliminated Charlie Tapp in the semifinal. Win number 3 in as many years on the PBA Tour. Knipple with a 192. Left the 2-pin, and there's a knowing smile that he's done it again. He's picked up the $17,000 first prize. All right. He has an intensity that you find in many winners in any sport. The ability to concentrate once he steps on the approach.
And what a courtesy. He just turned to Bobby Knipple and congratulated and consoled Bobby at the same time.
But for Bobby, it's a $9,000 check for finishing second, as Don Janello is the winner, 217 to 192. Big win for Don. We'll be back. You have traversed the country now.
Yeah, I've won in the Midwest, my first title. I won in the East on my 2nd title, and now I've won out here on the West Coast. Feels good.
Your opponent had a little tough trouble.
Yeah, he had a little trouble carrying the 10 pins, but he bowled a very good match.
Makes you quake a little when you go against veterans like that, doesn't it?
Yeah, the veterans are the tough ones. They've been out here a long time. They know how to make the shots.
Here's something Mac Lowry has for you. Gail Ferree carved this tiki. It's beautiful. And, Mac, you have something else in that right hand.
A lot of money here, Don. I'd like to welcome you to the land of sweet Leilani and take good care of her. I can tell she likes you a lot. You can see her lips.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Mac. I'd like to thank everybody here in Seattle, the crowd, Mac's staff. Everybody was great this week. I really enjoyed it.
You're going to be on the spring tour all the way?
Yes, I am.
Good luck the rest of the way. Good luck to you, Bobby Knipple. So there he is, Don Janello, the winner. He did it by 217 to 192. as the Professional Bowler Spring Tour has been